On the shores of the Indian Ocean lies Mozambique, a nation with a rich marine heritage, whose seas teem with life and provide sanctuary for giants of the deep. A land shaped by past conflict, where people are fighting new battles and communities are coming together. This is Mozambique from above. Mozambique lies on the southeastern edge of the African continent. This journey begins on the southern savanna plains, continuing north along the Indian Ocean coastline to the mountain rainforest deep in the heart of the country, before reaching the Zambezi Delta. But it starts here, at the southernmost point of the country. Stretching for over 2,500 kilometers, Mozambique's Indian Ocean coastline is one of the longest on the continent. Boasting idyllic beaches and unspoiled marine habitats, this spectacular bay earns its name, Ponta de Oro, or Point of Gold. And some local residents are putting this beauty spot on the map. These coastal waters are home to a group of wild dolphins, known as the pontopod. A population of around 250 Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins. Someone who knows these dolphins well is Angie Gullen. She's been swimming in these waters with them for over 20 years.
I had some pretty amazing encounters with dolphins, one of which was an encounter with a mother and her baby, and that was my first encounter. I remember it being so profound. Here was a completely wild animal that was taking time out of her day. That was quite moving for me.
These bays form part of a protected marine reserve and are an enticing habitat for dolphins. Attracted to the coastal shallows and abundant food sources, they make regular appearances, allowing for some unique encounters. People have long held a fascination for dolphins and enjoyed meaningful interactions. With one of the largest brains in the animal kingdom, they're capable of advanced intelligence, developing personality traits similar to humans. Highly sociable with complex communication skills and a curiosity that rivals our own. Angie's intimate knowledge of the pontopod has led to her setting up a research centre.
We've been monitoring the dolphins population here in the area since around about 1997. Over the years, I've learned a lot about dolphin behavior, particularly when it comes to trying to encounter them in the water.
She's learned how to interpret their body language and sounds.
I think the most important thing for me is to be able to understand when is the right time and when is the wrong time to try and engage with them.
Her pioneering work is safeguarding dolphins affected by marine tourism. Leading to a code of conduct which is used to regulate interactions here. Ensuring the well-being and protection of the dolphins of Ponta. Travelling over 100 kilometers north, the coastline gives way to Maputo Bay. Spanned by the longest suspension bridge in Africa. Standing 150 meters tall, this $750 million structure has opened up a new route from the south into Maputo, the capital city on the North Shore. Once a small fishing village and Portuguese trading post, today Maputo is a bustling metropolis, home to a rising population of over 1 million. Leaving the coast behind, the journey continues inland, over 200 kilometers north from Mozambique's cosmopolitan capital are the savanna plains of the interior and the Quirimbas Game Reserve. 150,000 hectares of pristine wilderness. A unique biome boasting the big 5 African species. Quirimbas' abundant wildlife makes it a target for poachers. But this is Delta Team, a force of highly trained rangers. They're on the front line of Africa's wildlife wars. Frank Manique is Special Operations Leader.
10 years working here, protecting the animals. I will see the many people hunting the animals. Who can protect those animals? Because when we talk about our Africa, we need to see animals, we need to see rhinos.
Historically, Mozambique has suffered some of the highest rates of poaching in the world, losing half of its elephant population in 5 years. Now, Quirimbas rangers are fighting back. Every day, heavily armed units patrol the huge reserve. It's a dangerous job. Poachers can be well equipped with military-grade arsenals. When potential incursions are detected, rangers in the field report back to HQ, who have an airborne unit ready for deployment at all times. Being custodians of such a vast expanse of land is no mean feat. But helicopters mean rangers are able to reach any threat much quicker than by road. On the ground, Delta has specialist support. A canine unit. These tracker dogs are a mix of Doberman and Bloodhound, bred for strength. With a powerful sense of smell, they have the ability to pick up human scent 24 hours old. crucial for covering a large territory at speed, giving Frank and his team an edge over the poachers they pursue.
They know that when they come inside Quirimbas, they will leave tracks, and then we will use those tracks to follow them. And when we follow them, we can find them.
The dynamic combination of rangers, a canine squad, and helicopter deployment make this a formidable team.
I feel we're winning now. The poachers, they're scared for us. I feel proud if I live and know that I'm saving a life of wildlife. I feel proud about that because it's my job and I like the job.
The gap is closing between poachers and rangers. With no killings of elephant or other megafauna over the last 4 years, Quirimbas is now a vital sanctuary for wildlife and is home to Mozambique's greatest conservation success stories. African wild dogs, or painted wolves, are the continent's most efficient predator. Pack hunters with an 80% success rate. Regulating prey species, they're crucial for maintaining a balanced ecosystem. They're also one of the world's most threatened animals. Shrinking habitat, disease and persecution have caused them to disappear from most of the African countries they once roamed. There are less than 7,000 left in the wild. But since 2019, they've been staging a remarkable comeback in Quirimbas. Meet field ecologist Joe Taylor.
13 wild dogs were translocated from South Africa into Quirimbas. And since then, the populations have been extremely successful and have flourished. We now have 37 wild dogs over 3 different packs here.
This protected reserve has provided a safe habitat for these nomadic animals, whose territory can range up to 1,500 square kilometers. And this success has led to a unique opportunity. An ambitious plan to help repopulate other parts of Africa. 14 dogs will be relocated to a reserve in neighboring Malawi, where wild dogs haven't been seen for 60 years. This is a collaborative effort involving multiple conservation teams. The chosen dogs have spent the past few weeks in this holding facility, while they bond and form a pack.
During that time, you really have the opportunity to learn the individual behavior and the little quirks of each individual wild dog. So I'd like to say I've gotten pretty attached to these dogs.
The day has finally come for their big journey. Vets must dart the dogs with enough sedative to ensure they sleep for the long hours ahead. With such a frenetic target, this requires concentration.
Hold on.
Sedation comes with risk, and the dogs must be closely monitored to ensure they remain stable and hydrated. This is an historic step towards securing the future of the species.
So actually keep them as is.
Happy and sad at the same time. Happy they get to be pioneers, though. Happy they're going and re-establishing wild dogs back in Malawi. I'm extremely proud of them, which is such a great, successful feeling that we finally did it.
All have high hopes that the pack will go on to establish a stable population in their new home. As Quirimbas continues to be an important stronghold for wild dogs, there is optimism that they will roam the plains of Africa once again. Quirimbas is a perfect habitat for wildlife. But its savanna bushland is a challenging environment for people. This can be a harsh landscape for farming. And regular droughts and civil war has pushed many into poverty. Growing up here, Cecilia Kubai experienced these hardships.
A byi vava hi ku sani a hi nga ri na lomu hi tirhaka kona. A ni famba hi milenge kusukelela ka Khobu, ni famba mpfhuka wo ringana 17 kilometers. Ni rhwale swivelani swa ku bola para ni ta kota ku dya. Kutani loko ni xumbarile a na ha yanga ni ya dyondza swin'wana.
But now an initiative is offering a lifeline to Cecilia and the local Kubo community and transforming the landscape. This is Kurula, a 50-hectare community farm. Established in 2019, Quirimbas partnered with the community to tackle food insecurity. Cecilia is now employed and trained in sustainable food production.
Ya una risima ngopfu hi mhaka ku wu hi dyondzisa ku a ku hi veka makhwati hi ku la ka hina la hi nga ku bindzulusa swi hi pfuni nchumu kambe loko swi nga ku nyikelela ku hlantswiwa ku endliwa leswi swi hi komba nhluvuko.
They're turning this dry bush into productive agricultural land. Installing irrigation systems linked to the nearby dam, vital for these remote and drought-prone regions. And the hard work is paying off. High yields of produce are sent to market. The profits are shared with the community, offering a sense of empowerment.
Ya a ku va ni tirhela ku rhula ni titwa ni tlakuke ngopfu ni ya henhla. Kusani le kaya se na dya kahle na kota ku dyondzisa vana va mina xikolo.
Kurula means peace in the local Shangaan language. In what was once a war-torn area, this farm is promising a brighter future for all. Leaving the dry savanna of Karangani, the journey continues northeast, returning to the Indian Ocean. Just 30 kilometers offshore is one of Africa's best-kept secrets. The Bazaruto Archipelago, known as the crown jewels of the Indian Ocean. A vast seascape connected by a chain of 5 islands. Towering dunes have been carved over millennia by powerful offshore winds. Remote and unspoiled, this is a world-class marine park. But most remarkable is the hidden world just beneath the surface. A kaleidoscope of pristine coral gardens. With over 100 different species of coral, this is one of the most diverse reefs found anywhere on the planet. Coral is a vital habitat. Taking up only 0.2% of the Earth's surface, it's home to over 1/4 of marine species. And Bazaruto's reef is teeming with life. More than 2,000 types of fish. It's also a hotspot for marine megafauna. And a high number of rare and endangered species. It's here that one of the ocean's most extraordinary creatures can be found. This is Africa's largest population of manta rays. Highly intelligent, they have the biggest brain of any fish. An ocean giant spanning up to 7 meters. But they're under threat and are now facing extinction. One woman has dedicated her life's work to fighting their cause. Known as the Queen of Mantas, Dr. Andrea Marshall has made her home on this coastline.
We have over 1,500 manta rays here. I've been working with this population for the last 20 years, and they've become like a family to me. I know most of them by name.
From her research station, she's been casting light on what was once one of the least understood marine species.
I really was the first one really kind of forging new ground on this really kind of elusive species. And they're really quite fascinating.
This coastline has some of the largest known aggregation spots in the world. But tracking them across such a vast area is not always easy and can require an aerial perspective. The drone is able to capture activity just below the surface. Allowing Andrea to get intimately close to the creatures she studies.
Having an encounter with a manta ray is like nothing else underwater. It is like no other fish out there. And it's because manta rays actively seek out encounters with humans, which is just an awesome feeling.
Andrea's in-depth research has led to groundbreaking discoveries, revealing that mantas congregate here at cleaning stations, areas of reef where their parasites and wounds are tended to by small fish. And she's rocked the world of marine biology by identifying an entirely new species, the giant manta ray. This is one of the few places where the two known manta ray species can be seen together. Her work is highlighting the importance of protecting these majestic creatures. Now the government has granted manta rays special protection status.
There's willingness here to sort of protect these iconic species that give people hope, that inspire people, that make Mozambique, Mozambique.
The Queen of Mantas continues to fight for their fate.
I feel very hopeful for the future. My hope is that we can create the most important marine protected area for marine megafauna in all of Africa.
On the mainland is another story of survival against all odds. This stretch of pristine coastline has long attracted intrepid explorers. 15th century Europeans described landing here as passing into paradise. And for some, these shores have offered a place of refuge. Pat and Mandy Retzlaff live here along with a herd of refugee horses. "20 years ago, they were farming in neighboring Zimbabwe, but were forced to flee when Robert Mugabe's land reform program led to the eviction of thousands of farmers.
We were the first 45 farms trashed and looted. People had to leave immediately because their whole livelihoods were just taken away overnight.
They began rescuing horses that had been abandoned during these expulsions. As the land seizures gathered pace, the Retzlaffs and their growing herd of horses relocated across Zimbabwe.
We were evicted 6 times of farms, a lot of them very violent.
Eventually, with a herd of 104 horses in tow, they embarked on a courageous journey across the border into Mozambique. Here, they reached safety and rebuilt their lives. Now they have a successful new venture, selling beach safaris to tourists. People come from miles away to explore this expansive coastline on horseback. The expanding herd is thriving in this tropical environment.
Horses have a phobia for water, sand, moving wind. We thought, well, they're going to hate it. They just walk straight into the water. They've loved it ever since.
Pat and Mandy's journey here has given them a unique bond with the horses they rescued.
We've been through so much together, and the love of a horse, it's very special. Horses bring out all sorts of emotions in people. They're amazing animals.
This unspoiled stretch of coastline offers a life of tranquility, far from the hostilities they fled.
It's a very special place.
The life here is unbelievable. So the future's great, I think.
Continuing north on this stretch of ocean, a traditional means of transport is still in use: dhow boats. Old Arabian sailing vessels that embody the spirit of maritime Africa. The beaches along this coastline are lined with artisan boat builders. Meet Ali Anisor.
Ele karawele kanserale ele lokihana 24 ano. Miano sintiri waka kabara kante kolole. Example girna thoira ela etwila embaraka ba girna muruni. Wakeri embaraka enkhale thiyo khala. Kupuela ka gihano bara kukhala.
Ali makes his living handcrafting these boats, using techniques that have been passed down through the centuries.
Ele enkhala materiale ukusha óleo hodriha vano uwe kuthuka khuntsela morono ninno ele khia kankiha vale mamoroni vale khinono viha thapo ele vano khina rukunwa tsa mpaka amvolaya.
This meticulous work often takes months to complete. Once seaworthy, Ali must put his craftsmanship to the test. Dhows have been sailing these waters for millennia. Arab traders arrived here in the 8th century. Soon this coastline became part of the greatest maritime trade network of the ancient world. connecting Africa with Asia and Arabia. Dhow fleets flowed through these waterways, propelled by prevailing monsoon winds. The heyday of the Indian Ocean trade route has passed, but dhows are still used to transport fishermen and tourists today, making the skills of boat builders like Ali sacred.
Mpakavale kiriwaka vale kihana atu anishta 5 na atu awana tie vale arivo 4 vano ahava twagina kukiwishuti hantiaka ambara elugar tikinako,
ensuring that this ancient craft is kept alive for future generations. Four kilometers off the coastline lies an enigmatic place, frozen in time. Ilha de Mozambique. A heavily fortified coral island. Today, it's connected to the mainland by a narrow bridge. But it remains a vision of 16th century Africa, with echoes of a turbulent past. Amid some of the oldest standing European structures in the Southern Hemisphere. Vasco da Gama was the first European to set foot here in 1498, at the height of the Portuguese Age of Discovery. And this tiny island became the powerful capital of Portugal's East African Empire. Before long, other maritime empires set their sights on conquering this territory. But dominating the island is one of Africa's finest military fortresses. Its walls have borne witness to numerous attempted sieges, as Dutch, British and Omani forces have all attempted to breach it. These formidable ramparts withstood them all. And for 4 centuries, the island remained a jewel in the Portuguese Empire. A lucrative crossroad on the sea route to their colonies in the east, becoming the most important trading post below the equator. Portuguese rule finally ended in 1975, bringing to a close the era of empire. Once a magnet for invaders, Ilha de Mozambique is today a haven of peace. But even though the conquerors have long since left, hidden clues from its past can still be found, providing a living for some of its residents. Selemani Amade has been an islander all his life. He spends his days on the shoreline, searching for buried treasure.
I have been collecting treasure for 24 years.
As the tide ebbs, Selemani goes on the hunt. Shipwrecks surround this island, releasing time capsules unearthed by the same currents that once carried them into these shores.
The currents, they bring stuff little by little, and if you have a good luck, you can find something very valuable.
Hidden in the sand, Selemani finds his treasure. Lost artifacts and a record of past lives. Items that tell a story of wealth and global exploration.
The treasure I found is very old. Coins, some vases, some glass, and beads. If you have a good luck, you can find also gold.
Glass and beads were the currency of the old trading system. Now they provide a trade for Selemani. The island might have lost its strategic importance, but its rich cultural heritage ensures it remains one of the most alluring places along this coastline. Leaving the tropical waters of the Indian Ocean, the journey continues deep inland, where the Zambezi River flows through the northwestern reaches of Mozambique. Here, the river has carved a valley through the landscape. It's the hottest part of the country, a remote and rugged region. When Portuguese colonizers arrived here, they didn't just bring their trade. They also brought their religion. This is the Catholic mission of Boroma. Built by Jesuit missionaries in the 19th century, who were on a holy mission to spread the word of God. Following the Zambezi River, they forged their way deep into Central Africa. Christianity spread throughout Mozambique. Today, it's the country's main religion. The missionaries have long since abandoned this station, but the buildings remain. They have since been reclaimed as a school by the local community. But after school, it's a ghostly relic from a bygone era on the banks of the Zambezi. The next stop on this journey is a conservation treasure that was almost lost forever. In the heart of Mozambique, at the southern limits of Africa's Great Rift Valley, lies Gorongosa National Park. One of the most biodiverse places on Earth. A vast wilderness with a mosaic of habitats. But it has a troubled past, becoming a battleground in the Civil War. Poverty-stricken locals were driven to practices such as tree cutting and slash-and-burn farming. It wasn't long before this region was ravaged by deforestation. Nearby, on the slopes of Mount Gorongosa, 30% of the ancient rainforest has been lost. Now, a pioneering initiative is fighting for its survival. Using coffee. Julius Sabello is one of Gorongosa's coffee farmers.
I grew up in coffee farms, and I started to enjoy coffee when I was young. I can say my whole life is coffee, coffee.
Conservationists have teamed up with farmers like Julius to turn Mount Gorongosa into a plantation. But they're not just planting coffee crops. Alongside, they plant native rainforest trees.
As a means of trying to reforestate the Gorongosa mountain, which was completely destroyed by the community.
The shade provided by these trees ensures the quality of the premium Arabica beans. Today, the slopes of the mountain are scattered with thriving coffee farms. This coffee is exported around the world, providing a vital income for the farmers.
This project is changing the lives of the community.
This is offering a sustainable alternative to destructive farming methods. Julius and his team will plant 200,000 coffee plants and 100,000 rainforest trees on the mountain this year.
I think Gorongosa will return to where it was before the Civil War. We can restore the forest. It takes time, but we can.
In what was once a war-torn area, coffee farming is offering a brighter future and a hope that Gorongosa will rise from the ashes of its past. It's not just forests that are making a comeback. Descending from the slopes of Gorongosa Mountain, the final stop on this journey is the Zambezi Delta, an expansive wilderness spanning 18,000 square kilometers. From savanna and fertile wetlands to vast mangrove forests. It's a prime habitat for wildlife. But this too was ravaged by the Civil War. Hunted for food, animal populations were decimated. Now, wildlife is returning. Huge conservation efforts have led to a 3,000% increase across all species. Once reduced to just 2,000, the buffalo population has now reached 25,000, one of the largest concentrations of buffalo in the world. And the apex predator has returned. Prides of lions are roaming this land once more. natural order of this vital ecosystem has been restored. This is a land healing from the legacy of war. In one of Africa's greatest wildlife recovery stories. Mozambique is a land of diversity. From mountain rainforests to savanna plains and its spectacular coastline. These habitats host an abundance of life. For centuries, it attracted invaders and conquerors. And its culture is shaped by its maritime heritage. Emerging from its past, this is a nation making leaps and bounds, where people are striving towards a brighter future. And wildlife is staging a victorious comeback throughout the country of Mozambique.